Hello, and welcome back to the Outcast Faith podcast. In today's episode, I have my friend Christian Caine, who goes to my church, and she was my small group leader at youth group for a while. And yeah, she's super awesome. So I'm happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
And tell us a bit about you and your interests.
Yeah, so right now it's been a just kind of a new season of life. I think I'm just kind of saying that I'm semi-retired right now. Our only daughter went off to college last year. My husband now has a job where he's traveling a bunch, and so it's major empty nesting at my house right now, which is um, actually been fun. I was a little nervous about being really sad with me basically hanging out in my house by myself a bunch, but I've just kind of leaned into it and it's been a lot of fun. Been doing some traveling and um, it's been a lot better than I thought. So this season of life, I'm really enjoying. Um, yeah, so that's just kind of in a nutshell me at the moment. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your childhood. Were you raised Christian?
I was Baptist. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday nights. So
Wow.
my entire childhood, that's what we did. There was no questions. I never objected, but it was just kind of our way of life, mainly because of my mom. My dad didn't always go, but my brother and I always went with my mom. So my mom has always been a big um, influence on my Christian foundation.
Yeah. What was it like at home growing up with your parents and your siblings?
Yeah, so it was, I'm the youngest. I have an older brother, actually two older brothers, a half brother, but he didn't live with us. And it was a great childhood. It was, I was just talking about this with friends. I feel like I have said this often. Like, I grew up in the 80s. The 80s were, seriously, I think it was the best time to grow up. It was just, compared to now, and having a daughter, um, so different. Like when we go, like in the 80s, it was pretty carefree. Kids left the house for hours on end. Parents didn't know where we were. We'd come back home when it started getting dark. All the stories that you hear about that time, it was really like that time. We go camping a lot with our friends. We have an RV, and we always say when we're camping that we're 80s parents because we don't really know where the kids are. They're like, I don't know, off playing somewhere. And yeah, so my childhood was being raised, mainly in the 80s. And it was a lot of fun. Actually, my home was great, and yeah, nothing to complain about. Yeah, it was a good time.
Um, did you go to college?
I did. I went to the University of Texas. So I grew up in a very small town in South Texas, and then went off to college, University of Texas, and then I never moved back home after that. Austin is just a really fun place to live, and I lived there for many, many years. Kind of started my career there. My major was political science, and my senior year, I started working at the Capitol there in Austin um, as a page, which basically means you're just like an errand person for all of the legislative offices. And I had got to know one of these offices, one of the Senate offices, really well. Felt like I was always in there helping them with something, and they offered me a job upon graduation. So I actually used my degree for like a handful of years. Um, so yeah, I just think it's great that I actually got to use my degree because that doesn't always happen, and
That is great.
you don't always actually work in your field that you have your degree in. So that was really cool until It wasn't. I don't know. I thought, I mean, it was just like thoughts of grandeur when I was
Mm.
younger that I was going to change the world, make it a better place. But then actually working in politics is very different. You learn things that you can never, learn in a textbook.
Mm.
And it was great, but I learned quickly that it's all about money. It
Mm.
just is, usually. And there's good people there, lots of not great people, but I just realized that I just didn't want to do that
Mm.
anymore. What I thought it was going to be was just not what it was, and I ended up hopping on over to the private sector and started a different career after that. So, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. You said that you never moved back home. Where did you grow up?
So it was a really small town down. Okay, so when you think of the shape of Texas, it goes down to like this point. I lived like at the very bottom of that point, near, some people know, South Padre Island. So I lived like 30 minutes from there. And it was a great place to grow up near the beach. That's where most of our, like my core family memories were from, was packing up sandwiches and heading to the beach with the family. It was inexpensive and fun. So that was some of my fondest memories. As a matter of fact, I just flew home from my parents' house. They still live there, and we always go to the beach, and so it's very nostalgic. So I got to go to the beach a couple of days ago, and with my family, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What brought you to Arizona?
So when I got married, we were living in Alabama. My husband at the time was in the military, Army National Guard. He was a pilot, and we just were missing Texas at first. And so we moved back to Texas from Alabama, and then we loved it when we were back in Texas, kind of like, in our roots area. And then my husband got out of the military at that time. And when all you've ever known is the military, it's hard to go back to civilian life, is what we call it. When you're used to the military, it's very structured, and it's the camaraderie is very different than like corporate America.
Yeah.
And it was hard for him to find his footing. And he got a call from a friend here in Arizona and said, "Hey, we have a job here for you, still as a helicopter pilot, if you'd like to do it." And he asked me if I wanted to move here, and I said, "Not really." But I just kind of surrendered to the Lord and said, "All right, Lord, if this is what you want for our family." And he opened up every single door possible and made it super easy for us to move here. And we thought we were just going to live here like a few years and go back to Texas. Here's what they say is like, once you're a Texan, you're always a Texan, and you will always go back. But we're still here 14 years later, and we love it. And we created such a great community here and raised our daughter here. And so I guess we're Tucsonans.
Yeah.
But still Texans at heart a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody that like comes to Arizona, they're like, no, it's too hot. I don't want to be there forever. And then somehow they're here forever.
Yeah. Yes, my parents are still waiting for us to move back to Texas, and we're just like, I don't know. We really like it here, and we like the no humidity, which is nice too. So
that's true.
So yeah, it's been great.
How did you meet your husband?
So we met when I was living in Austin. I graduated UT and then just stayed there forever. And I actually met him through his brother, because we used to hang out with a big group of, males and females. And he invited us to my now husband's going away party, because he was going to move to Alabama. And his brother said, "Hey, I'm throwing a party for my brother. He's in the Army. He's going to be moving, and would everybody like to come?" We're like, "Okay, great," at their lake house outside of Austin. And we really didn't talk all that much at the party. He was actually there with a girl, and we were just having fun. And then at the end of the party, he got everybody communicated by email back then. He got everybody's email, and sent an email to everybody, letting everybody know that he made it to Alabama. And he said that it was just me and one other person that replied to his email.
Oh.
And we started communicating via email. And that's how we actually started, I guess, kind of dating. We actually said we never really went on like a proper first date because it was all over email and phone calls.
Yeah.
Like on landline phones. And before I knew it, we were getting married, and I was moving to Alabama, and yeah, that's how we met. Kind of crazy.
And how long have you two been married?
22 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's been a great 22 years. Married my best friend.
Okay. And then when did you have your daughter Kennedy?
So we had her, let's see, 2 years after we got married. So my husband and I like to say we got married later in life than, most. We were 34, and which is, I think there's some people waiting later now, but back then it was kind of becoming the norm, which I don't encourage, but that was God's plans for us. So yeah, we were both very independent, being 34 and having her when we were 36. So we were, the plus side is we were very mature at that age, and, had good jobs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but we had one. We were like, well, I guess we hit the jackpot with just one. We actually wanted more, but we tried just normal conventional ways of having another child, but it just didn't happen for us. And so so we have an only.
What has having a kid, how has that impacted your relationship with God?
Oh gosh, when you have a child, you realize a lot of things. One day you will realize a lot of things about your parents when you have a child. Like, I get it now. It's a lot of surrendering to the Lord when you are entrusted with a miracle. You realize a lot of things, and it's about putting that child first and foremost. Of course, God first, and family, but I think it definitely grows every parent's relationship with the Lord, because you want to protect your child against the world, and you begin to realize the Lord's love for you through your child. Like, okay, Lord, I can only imagine how much you love me now, because we will love this child so much, and it gives you an understanding of God's unconditional love, for sure.
Yeah. I know a lot of people say that, like, once they have a kid, they're like, I can understand God's love for, like, me more.
Right.
Like, how he looks at us as his children. It just, like, broadens your eyes to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you want a girl when you were...
We actually were really open, because, we were a little bit older. We were just like, Lord, just let us get pregnant, because, it seemed like a long time to us, which in the big scheme of life and just other people that may have infertility issues, it took us about 7 or 8 months, and we were just happy to be pregnant. My husband, because, most men want to have like a son, right? In addition to daughters or whatever. But my husband, and of course he was just like not really that way, which a lot of men are. And he said if I could do it all over again, I would have all girls. He's like the best girl dad, for sure.
Do you think being a mom, like having a daughter, was easier for you because you could relate to her more?
I think so, because I hear, my friends talk that have boys, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't know. I just have, a girl. Parenting in general, there's a lot of things that are the same, but I don't know. I feel like God just blessed me with what he thought maybe I was going to be the best at. Maybe it was just girl mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely easy to relate about a lot of things. And, She's my little broke bestie, is what I call her.
My mom calls me that, and I don't appreciate it.
It lovingly, and I wouldn't want it any other way right
Yeah.
now, you know, because, you know, I get to fund all of our fun adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part of being a mom?
Oh gosh, you're gonna make me cry. I'll just tear up with that. Everything. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me outside of getting married to my husband as my best friend. But gosh, you just look at life through a different lens, and you're just so grateful. And the experience of being a parent is just like nothing. It's just like nothing else. And I've enjoyed every moment. I really have. You know, some parents talk about, you know, their favorite stages, and I don't. You know, maybe it's different because I had an only. Um, but it's just been the best thing that's ever happened to me and my husband, because I'm just thankful that we were able to have her. And gosh, there's been so many great memories, and we're still making them, you know, today. And you know, you hear these things like you only have your kids for, you know, 18 summers, and I used to just like, my heart was just like, oh my goodness, like that's just not that much time. But you know what I've learned? It's not just 18 summers. There's lots of summers after 18, and I just feel like if you're close to your children and you foster the environment that makes them actually choose to hang out with you, man, it's a good life. It's not just 18 summers. Yes, it's 18 summers where they're just living in your home, which is such a special time. But there's still life with your children after 18, and I'm learning that it's a beautiful thing to see your kids grow. I mean, my daughter's 19, she'll be 20 this year, and getting to see them grow into adulthood, loving Jesus, and watching them make decisions based on the foundation that you've built for them is such a beautiful thing. And I'm still enjoying it, and I plan on enjoying it until God takes me home.
Yeah. My mom and my parents did such a good job of making home a good place.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm really close with my family, and I'm actually going to be commuting to college because I'm going to GCU. So it's going to be a bit of a commute.
Yeah.
But I just love being at home, and I wouldn't want to leave until, honestly, like marriage. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a good place there. I'm like, why would I leave?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my daughter's at GCU, so maybe you'll see her there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves it. She
Yes.
absolutely loves it. I mean, she loves being home for the summer, I think. She's been busy doing all kind of fun things, but I think she's counting down the days to go back, which makes me a little sad but more happy, because it's been such a great experience for her. So one day, if you're blessed to have children or adopt children or whatever the scenario may be, you will realize when your children are happy and thriving, you're happy inside as well. Yeah.
What is she studying?
She is studying business administration.
Wow.
Yeah. With a minor in film. So completely
two
opposite.
very different subjects.
Two very different subjects. That's one thing about GCU that you'll find out. So they encourage like 3-year degrees, or not degrees. They encourage graduating in 3 years, which she's not doing. She's like, Mom, I'm having so much fun. Like, why would I want to make it go any quicker? She may change her mind, but she just loves it and loves that. And so you will start taking your minor classes sooner. So she may start taking some like in the spring, which normally your first 2 years you're just doing like all electives and not really getting into like your major and your minor. But It's such a great place. I'm so excited that you're going to go there. And
Yes.
it's like, it's an hour and a half away, but it's still like close enough where you can come home easily.
Mm.
It's not like a plane ride
Mm-hmm.
away, or your parents can get to you quickly,
Mm-hmm.
if needed. And it's almost like just the right amount of buffer where you can be independent and kind of live your
Mm-hmm.
own life, but not that far away from home. So
Yeah.
we loved that the first year because she would still come home on the weekends and with friends that are also going to GCU, and so they
Mm-hmm.
would, come home, and friends would come home together, and so
Yeah, I
I
know a
think
lot
it's a
of
great choice.
OVCN students are
Yes,
going to GCU.
yes, it's such a great choice, I think, for kids that live here.
Mm.
Super excited for you. What are you going to study?
Worship arts, and I'll also get my Master's of Divinity.
I love it. I love it. So I understand that they now have apologetics as
Yeah,
a
they just
major.
added that.
So that's just starting this year. She was actually considering that when she went last year, but it wasn't a major for undergrad. It was only for grad school. So I'm loving that.
Yeah,
I love it.
I was interested in that, but I think I've got too much on my plate. I've got
Yeah.
honors too and everything.
Of
so
course.
I'm like,
Of course.
at this point, just don't keep adding things.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love that you're going to do worship arts because you have such a beautiful voice, and
Thank you.
I just loved you singing on the worship team in youth group. So, yay! I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. So have you ever experienced the feeling of being an outcast or feeling like you just didn't quite fit in?
I have not experienced that. I have seen others experience that, and um, I know it's a really hard time. And so I've just tried to be there for those that I know
Mm-hmm.
have been through that, because I know it can happen to a lot of people. And so I just try and be there the best, that I can
Mm-hmm.
as a friend.
Um, so I know, like, for a lot of Christians, some of where like their faith grows a lot is when they go through like hard things in their life and seeing how God is there for them. If you've
Right.
had some things in your life that you've gone through with God.
So I will say, growing up, I didn't have any like really hard things to go through. That happened in my marriage, when my husband was deployed, and that was it was a really challenging time. Kraken. It was a challenging time, just with everything that comes with that. Not knowing if your husband's gonna make it back home. Having a young daughter at the time. She was 4, and my faith with the Lord was very strong. At that time, which definitely got me through the hard times. But I also had a very strong community here, with friends that rallied around my daughter and I, and were there for us and my family. But I would say that was probably a really hard time where I found myself surrendering more to the Lord, because it was just things out of my control. Our daughter had a really hard time at that time with separation anxiety that was really hard for others to understand. Um, and she was in public school at that time. Um, and so that was really hard when your child has a hard time understanding what's going on, because my husband was gone for a year. And she had some kids that had told her that her dad was never coming back. So that added to her separation anxiety. And when you're 4 and went into her being 5 years old, children don't that's really hard for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that really strengthened my faith um, in the Lord. And, I'm thankful for that time, even though it was a hard time, because it actually did strengthen our marriage as well, um, because we knew it was bringing us closer to the Lord during a difficult time. So that was probably the hardest thing um, that I've been through. And so, I also just try and be there for other families that, you know, are going through something like that as well, because I've lived through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you touched a little bit on this, but what are you focusing on in your life right now?
I am focusing on things that I enjoy. So I'm reading more. Um, I am finally gonna take a dance class that I have wanted to take for a really long time. Guess what kind of dance class it is?
Um, I don't know. Line dancing?
No, but that's super fun.
Yeah.
Hip hop.
Really?
I am gonna take a hip hop class, and it is something that I've actually always wanted to do, and just I don't know, never made time for it, or just lots of things just going on. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna take that this fall.
Where are you taking that?
So it's at a little dance studio here in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my mom was talking about doing something like that.
Was she?
Yeah, she was telling me there's I don't know if you've seen Carrie Underwood and Keith Urban have a song together. And Carrie Underwood does some crazy dance situation there.
Oh, I know the song, but I don't think I've seen her dance to this song.
Yeah, in the music video, she does hip hop or something, and my mom was like, "That's really cool. I should take a class or something." So that would be interested afterwards. Tell me where you're going.
I will.
We're looking for a spot for it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Well, some friends of mine take a different type of dance class at this studio in town, but they also have hip hop. And I've told one of my friends that has been going to these other classes. I'm like, okay, if they ever have a hip hop class, that's the type of music, because it just makes me happy. I think it's just super fun. So I think this next year is going to be the year of dance for me, because my husband actually still needs to make good on a promise that he made me when we got married. That was 22 years ago. That we would take a country and western, not line dancing, but just traditional, country dancing together. And I've been telling him, you still have not made good on that promise. And I told him that I would like it to happen within this next year. And now, with us being empty nesters and just kind of in a different season of life, although he does travel a bunch, but I'm determined to make it happen. So this might be my year of dance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would love to take some dancing classes. I told my mom, I was like, I'll do it with you then.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fun. And it's actually really good for you. It's a form of exercise, good for the brain. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm kind of in a season of what things make me happy. So that's just kind of me. Who knows what else I'll discover, what else I will discover over this next year. But that's kind of me. I'm in kind of a season of, if there's something that's going on, I don't know, an event or gathering or whatever, I'm just kind of in a season of, I don't know, if it's not something that I really want to go to, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
Which probably should have been that way all along, but now I'm just kind of I really just want to do things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because it's not all about what makes me happy, which is, kind of comes along with it. It's just kind of if I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm just not going to go. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So that's just
it's
kind
okay
of my
to
season.
say no to things.
Yes, it's just kind of my season, and it's very liberating. Yeah.
Something I love, I heard the Olsen twins say one time or something, is they said no is a full sentence. And if you want to say no to something, you can just say no.
Yes. And not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my season right now.
Okay. Is there anything you're hoping to achieve with God in the next decade?
Oh, gosh, that is a good question. I think, I've been a Christian for a very long time. I feel like I'm still learning things. You can hear stories that you've heard your whole life,
Mm.
um, and then be a part of a Bible study where you heard that same story growing up, but then you take away something else from that story. And I think it also depends on like what season of life that you're in, that there may be something, a part of the Bible, a teaching of the Bible that maybe you weren't supposed to really get until a certain season of your life. Because I really feel like that's the way that God works, that at this season that you're meant to take away something different. And so I'm always trying to be part of a Bible study because for that reason, because I really feel like you can always learn something new. And so I think that'll probably be not even the next 10 years, but really for the rest of my life, is just to keep leaning into God, because there's always something that I think He's wanting to teach us, and having open heart, open hands, um, to where God wants to lead me and what He wants me to learn. So I think that's just kind of my life motto, which I don't always get right, but open heart, open hands to what God wants to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said Bible studies are a big part of your life. How else do you prioritize God in your life?
Well, I'm a devotional junkie. I think I've gotten better. I feel like years ago I was reading 5 and 6 devotion, which is not a bad thing. But I like to. I'm a morning person, so I like to start my day with reading the Bible in a devotion. Maybe listen to a podcast or something. So I feel like that keeps continuing to strengthen my faith with God, along with my prayer life. I also walk every morning, except right now it's been so hot. I have not been doing it. So
you have to get out really early.
Yeah, and I'm a morning person. So, but even at 5 a.m., which I am often walking out at 5 a.m. because I'm just a morning person and I love being in nature. So my first 30 minutes of my walk will be my prayer time. And then my second half is usually listening to some kind of podcast, Christian, maybe not Christian. But that's kind of the way I start my day usually, is getting into the Word, because I feel like that's just the best way to start the day, just to kind of get my footing for the day. And if I happen to miss it because I'm just, whatever's, something going on during the day, it just doesn't feel exactly correct. And so that's the way I like to start my day.
Yeah. Do you have any devotional recommendations?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to get back to you. I feel like I'm drawing a blank. The one that I'm reading right now is The Case for Christ.
Oh yes.
And this will actually be like my third time reading it, and I find myself just always going back to it because there's just so many great points that are made in that devotional. So that's the one I'm reading.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay. What is some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Oh, let's see. Well, it ties into my life verse. John 13:7, which is, this is like when during the Last Supper, when Jesus is washing the disciples' feet, and Peter is like, "You shouldn't be doing this." And in the verses, right now you do not understand, but later you will. I would tell my younger self, even though I grew up in a Christian home and have been Christian, the majority of my life, I think it's a good life verse for everyone, because you may not understand what is why something is happening right now, but that God works all things for good, and that you may not understand in the moment.
Mm.
It may be a declared um, clarity on maybe something that you're going through at the time. And so that's something that I like to live by, is like, Lord, I do not understand what is going on right now or why something is happening, but Lord, I know you're in control. And so that's kind of what I like to live by. I always like to think, Lord, I know this is not a great thing, but I always feel like things could be worse. So that's another kind of little saying that I always say in my head, like, okay, well, things could always be worse.
Mm.
Like, when I think I'm having a bad day, I can think of other people going through other things that are not as bad. It's my reality at the moment, and it's not a great time for me or somebody in my family or something that's happening. But ultimately, God is in control. And so that is my life verse that just kind of, is a part of my life. And so
Mm.
I think with that framework, it helps us be grounded in the Lord, that His plans are always better than ours, and He doesn't make mistakes,
Mm.
and that everything happens for a reason, even though it may not be great things that are going on in your life. But God always has a plan for good.
Mm. Yeah. Is there a biblical character that you identify with?
Oh gosh, there probably is, but I can't think of one. Let me think. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on this episode and
Yeah.
for sharing so much. And
Absolutely, this was fun.
yeah, I really appreciate you being here. And I'll see everyone on the next episode. Thank you.